Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today. And today we're talking about the water mixing station and the RODI unit, which is honestly a video that I forgot to make. So apologies for that. This probably should have been the first or second video in the series, but just kind of got carried away with some other things. And basically I'm just knocking out a pretty simple 2x4 frame stand for these two mixing containers, which will be stacked one on top of each other, because in the place I want to put them, I kind of just have limited space to fit them. The mixing stations are located past the quarantine systems in this back little kind of mechanical area with the hot water heater and some other things. And it's so tight in here, I had to build the stands in place, which was quite a process. And these are two 110-gallon Norwesco containers. I honestly would have loved to have gone bigger, but I couldn't get anything bigger through this door to fit them in this space. And this is RODI on the top and salt water on the bottom. And I bolted this into the wall as well as put some plywood on the sides to help with racking. And apologies for the bad video, I'm using a flashlight, there's no light back here whatsoever. So we start out with a shutoff valve at the bottom and a Varios 8, again a common pump for the system in case I need to switch things out. Water is then pumped up into a 1 micron sediment filter, which I can isolate if needed. And it's interesting, I use HW Reefer salt, which is supposed to be pretty clean, and I still get sediment in the filter. And just to orient you, the sump is on the left side right through this wall, and this line right here comes in right there with a valve that I can crank and just add salt water to the tank during water changes. This spigot right here in the front with the valve is where I can attach a hose to fill up the quarantine systems. So this assembly does a couple things. To the left here, a line fills the Kalkwasser reservoir as well as my ATO just by gravity. The valve on the front here I can just crack to drain water down to the saltwater tank below to mix it. And then the valve in the back was put in with the thought of extending the plumbing to the top RODI tank in case I ever wanted to be able to mix salt water between both tanks and make twice as much salt water kind of in an emergency if I needed to. But I honestly haven't felt the need to do that and never finished that section, but maybe in the future. And then this stack here hooks into the main drain for the house. And I've got my wastewater from the RODI coming in here, drain for the quarantine systems, that 1/2-inch PVC line there. And then I can unscrew this cap and stick a hose in there if I ever need to drain down either of the RODI or saltwater tanks. And as for the RODI system, this is a 7-stage bulk reef supply, kind of soup to nuts system, which is probably a little overkill for my area. I live, up in the mountains at almost 6,000 feet, and we have really, really pure water up here. The TDS in my water is only about 40 to start with. I can get away with actually not changing out resin very often at all, and the water is pretty clean. Now, I could pretty easily make the argument that an RODI system is your best and most important first purchase for your reef tank. You hear every once in a while people using tap water or well water. Well water may be possible if you've got really clean well water, but just take all the variables out and start with a good RODI system. The foundation of any reef tank is the water, right? You've got to have good, clean water with balanced chemistry. So start with a good RODI unit and you'll be halfway there. So this unit splits into a bunch of different lines to feed different things, including a separate ATO tank for the quarantine systems, which I also use for a backup ATO reservoir for the main tank when I go on vacation. And just to send us out, here's some footage of Tanza eating, and clearly I need to get a blue filter for my camera lens now that I'm going to be taking some video of the tank. So thanks again for joining us. We hit 500 subscribers, which is kind of a cool milestone, and thanks for all your support, everyone. See you next time.